everyone, and welcome to the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world show made for the fans by a fan. I am your host, as always, Richard Tiemann. This is the award-winning Fan Show. Thank you all for tuning in. And, it's been a week. It's been a day, really. This is the place where everyone's a fan of something, and we have something for every fan. Unless you're a fan of traffic, why would you be? That's such an odd thing to be a fan of, unless you're one of those people that, misery loves company, and you love misery. So you're just sitting there, there's honking, you're not moving at all. You've gone through 3 green lights and you're just like, I like this. This is fun. This is good. No, it's not. It's not fun, folks. If you're a fan of traffic, then you should go play in it. That's my stance on traffic right there. If you're a fan of traffic, go play in the traffic. There we go. It's a win-win for both of us. I hate traffic, but I apologize for being late. And for those of you listening on demand in the form of a podcast, i.e. on iTunes, SoundCloud, Spotify, or iHeartRadio, you're like, what are you talking about? This is right on my time. What do you mean? Sorry I'm late to the Facebook Live and the start of the live broadcast because 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. That's when we're supposed to go live and do this thing, and you are all welcome to join in on the chat on the Facebook Live and the chat on Spreaker.com/user/thefanshow. But it wasn't just because of traffic that I was late today. I did have to make a quick pit stop, and it was for good reason. It was for very good reason because, as some of you know, I have a little trip coming up this weekend. Friday, I will head down to California for another taping of BattleBots. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. Very, very excited to go down there. And so, I had to pick something up. You smell that? It's fresh merch. Mm-hmm. Yes, we have our Robotics Division t-shirt. We had a batch of them made. They will be going with me. For those of you that already ordered them, have no fear. Yours is safe and secure. If you will not be at the taping, yours will be sent out to you soon. Probably right after I get back. And hopefully the goal is to sell out. I've got a good chunk of them, variety of sizes, and we'll hopefully sell out of these things. That's the idea. If we sell out, it's even better. And we got some people joining in on the chat right now. Adam's back. Adam says, congrats to the Tampa Bay Lightning, President's Day Trophy winners. Best record in the league. Gets swept in the first round. I tried to follow hockey last year with the Vegas Golden Knights. Very difficult to do. Like I said, anything that's not football that plays multiple times a week is hard for me to keep up with. And I really want to get passionate about it. I do. So for you hockey fans, I imagine that this is a pretty big deal. Tampa Bay Lightning, that's where we have one of our natives from Spokane playing for them right now. Let's see. Marquette Sutton. Yes, I am a Niners fan. Thought I made that pretty obvious. But I try not to be biased. I am. I'm biased. I admit. I try, but I fail. There we go. And yes, we have shirts. Hello, Jimmy. Good to see you guys. It is Power Rankings Day, so we will have that in our headlines portion. We have the Week 8 going into Week 9 Power Rankings for the IFL. And then, of course, we have the first edition of the Power Rankings for the NAL season. And I'm actually glad that we're doing this now. I didn't have a chance to create one for the NAL just yet. It will get done, and it will be posted later today. But now I get to ask you where someone will go on the NAL Power Rankings. So we'll get to that. It's a little bit of fan participation. Hello, Don. Don's in on the chat there on Facebook. Again, we are live on Facebook, live on Spreaker.com. So Facebook.com/FanShowOfficial and Spreaker.com, Spreaker with an R, after the P, not at the end. There is one at the end too, but you get what I mean. Spreaker.com/user/thefanshow. And if you want to hear tonight's amazing conversation, the interview with hottest rising star in the IFL right now, Drake White. was number 1 on our countdown last week. Not the one that came out Monday, but the one that came out last week. He was the number 1 play, and he is no stranger to the top 10. Didn't have a play on there this week, but it's probably an off week for him. But we talk about that. We talk about his season. This is his first year in the IFL, and you will need to switch it over to Spreaker, wherever the link is located from your viewing perspective, to hear that in its entirety. So we'll be doing that in a little bit. But yes, it's great to be here. Niner fan in Connecticut. I love it. Marquette, we need to hang out sometime if I make it that far to the East Coast. But we can talk Niners all season long. I never get tired of talking about them. Unless somebody says, there's a real need for a mobile quarterback that knows the 49ers system that has been blackballed from the league. Stop it. It's been 3 years. Brett Favre has a better chance at coming back and saving whatever team needs a backup quarterback than he does. Stop it. Anyway, so I had to pick up shirts. I'm here now. We're doing this thing. And we will do power rankings. We'll have our conversation, my interview with Drake White. Congratulations to Tiger Woods. Before I even get to headlines, before I forget again, congratulations to Tiger Woods winning his 5th Masters and his first one since 2005. And there was a lot of similarities in 2005 that happened this year as well. Triple H versus Batista at WrestleMania happened then, and he won the Masters. There was one other thing, and I'm trying to think of what it was, but there was another thing that happened in the world of sports that happened to happen this weekend as well. So congrats to him. Hello, Brian. Good to see you. Yes, Adam says, let's not forget Tiger Woods, top of the mountain. So let's go ahead and get into headlines. Let's discuss everything. Your question for headlines today, while we get into it, to think about, to comment on in the chat here. Tiger Woods, be honest. Now, be honest. Your question is, did you count him out, and why? And if you didn't, was it that you're a Tiger fan? Or was there something you saw that says he's not done yet? So did you count him out, yes or no, and why for yes or no? There's your question. So let's go ahead. Let's get to it. We will do the headlines right now. And the headlines, of course, are brought to you by Dynamite Enterprises, where they make great stuff like this. That's right. Holding up the new F.A.N. Show Robotics Division t-shirt, the first ever. This is the first division shirt we've made outside the original logo. Very excited for this one. We will have outdoors, music, wrestling, pop culture, for all that for the events that they coincide with this summer. I'll have a batch of pop culture ones made in June for the Comic-Con, Lilac City Comic-Con. And outdoors division will probably be the next one. Music division, that one really just depends. I promised some to some local artists, so we'll need to get those made eventually. And then wrestling, really, my whole thing is that unless there's an event planned for the release of a new shirt or new merchandise, that whichever one gets the most requests and orders in for it will be the next batch that's printed. That's a pretty fair trade, I think. And so they can make you great t-shirts like this. One more time for the folks at home on the Facebook Live. Yes. New merch smell. Oh, it's so soft. Super soft. And they make stickers, like with the same logo. What? Yes, they do that. They do hats. They do beanies, polos, backdrops. They can probably even do mouse pads. I'm looking around here on my desk, see what else can they make. And they can make pretty much just about everything that I've got here in the Fan Cave studio. So hit them up. You can reach out to Ethan directly, ethan@dynamiteenterprises.com, or you can visit their website and view what all they've made, and that is dynamiteenterprises.com. So the headlines, Tiger Woods is back on top of the golf mountain. Not that I care much for golf, but it is a big deal in the world of sports, so let's talk about it. I love that there was a video made of him watching all the haters and the doubters. And by the haters and the doubters, I mean the guys that get paid the big bucks to do what I do, except for more often than not, they're wrong and they show no remorse or apology for being wrong. They don't even give an excuse why. They don't even say, I was wrong on this one. It's why they were wrong, and yet somehow they're still right in a way. Stephen A. Smith said Tiger was done in a not so nice way, and a few more words than that. Cowherd says that he's referred to Tiger as a former golfer for the last 4 or 5 years. And there was a lot of people on there on this video montage. Tiger's watching all these, reacting. People saying that they counted him out, that he was done, finished. And it's a lot of the same familiar faces, the usual suspects of hot takes and garbage knowledge for anything, really. My problem with analysts and experts is this. They don't leave any room for error. In other words, when they say something, it's definitive with no reason why it could be wrong. They don't leave themselves any out whatsoever. And I realize that that's what makes for good TV and good radio and ratings and whatever. But I at least, if I have a take on something or someone, I will always give myself that out, not as a cop-out, but the out as far as like there's always the chance that it could go the other way. So if somebody would have asked me last year, do you think the Cleveland Browns will go to the Super Bowl? I don't think they will, but there's always a chance. The Philadelphia Eagles showed us that 2 years ago. They went, and of course everybody thought it was probably going to be due to Carson Wentz, but once they punched their playoff ticket and now they're with Nick Foles, it's like, well, they're done. There goes there. And they went and beat Tom Brady and the New England Patriots to get their first Super Bowl championship in franchise history. And there's been a lot of great Eagles in the past, man. And we're talking Nick Foles and the Doug Peterson squad did something that those previous squads with Andy Reid, Donovan McNabb, Terrell Owens could not do. They did it. So, yes, everyone loves a good hot take, and everybody loves to be able to call out somebody when they get a take wrong. But I hate seeing people get paid big bucks for something that I'm trying to make my career and get them wrong more often than not. I mean, when was the last time Colin Cowherd was right about something? There's another question for you guys. When was the last time Stephen A. Smith said something that made sense? So I will always leave myself the possibility that it could not happen, whatever my take is. I say, 49ers are going to make the playoffs. But if they don't, it'll be because this, or this. Right? I feel like that's fair. But that might not be what gets you clicks or listens or downloads. And that's okay by me because I decided to do this thing because I wanted to be different from them. And if that's the wrong way to do it, whatever. I'm still here. I'm filling out tax documents for the show. I'm looking up legal help to make sure all my stuff's copyrighted and trademarked correctly. I'm looking into hiring an accountant. I'm creating invoices, doing up contracts and getting paid for what I do. So I feel like I have a shred of knowing how this works and that it's been semi-successful. But anyway, so Tiger Woods was counted out, and we've got some comments on this now. Adam says, I'll be honest, I thought Tiger was done years ago. The whole scandal 10 years ago, the injuries and the backlash from the media. I thought it took a major toll on him, but I was wrong. He might actually catch Jack. He also says, can't stand Cowherd or Stephen A. Just a pair of one-trick ponies that know only hot takes and just ignore facts. They really do. And Cowherd's issue with Baker Mayfield is something that I haven't figured out yet. I'm just like, why are you picking on this kid? And for Baker to go on that show and go punch for punch with him and put him in his place, and yet he still doesn't let up. Life is too damn short, man. I will say that I counted Tiger out, but then again, I never thought he was going to step back onto the green after the scandal. I didn't. I thought his career was done then. It takes so much for an athlete especially, okay? An athlete on a team sport is one thing, but an athlete in an individual sport. Michael Phelps in swimming. What happened to him? He was at the highest of highs, and he got caught smoking pot, and all of a sudden he falls from grace. Tiger Woods, the highest of highs, and then that scandal that happened with the mistresses and whatnot. I mean, it takes years to build yourself to the top of the mountain and get there, to achieve that greatness in an individual sport. Okay? I mean, that is something that is all on you, and it takes a moment for it to just be gone. And I thought that's what happened with Tiger. So I'm not going to say that I didn't think he could come back and be a great golfer again. I just didn't think he would ever come back and be a golfer again. And that's my take on what we see in the world today, is that if there's dirt on you, someone will dig it up, and 9 times out of 10, it will destroy you. What happened to Kevin Spacey? There's a good question for you. Well, one of my favorite shows, The Ranch, Danny Masterson. They got dirt on him. He's gone. And we'll see what happens with that series. But it takes one thing, and then it's done. Somehow Brett Favre missed the social media train by just a bit when he allegedly sent an inappropriate photo to a member of the Jets media staff. And yet he's still one of the players that we hold in the highest regards, right? Ray Lewis with his shady past. They all kind of missed what these athletes today will have to go through. I waited for the longest time to see what was going to happen with Tim Tebow. I thought somebody was going to find something, and it was going to be all downhill from there. But no, instead, nobody found anything, and they just decided to banish him from the world of professional football altogether because of his religious beliefs and not being shy about it. And I think that's ridiculous. So there's some personal feelings for me, for you guys to chew on. Let's see. James says he took an Ambien before the last round. There's dirt. That's great. Thank you, James. Don says, so will the Niners have a decent O-line, and can they have a strong running game to shorten and finish games? I'd like to think so. Joe Staley's sticking around. They got McGlinchey back. Their O-line I don't think was ever a problem. It was their secondary. They were giving up too many big plays. They didn't have a big name in the secondary that could help them keep the battle being in the trenches. They were getting to the quarterback, but it was because Jimmy G wasn't back there and they were working with a backup quarterback and then a rookie quarterback. I can't really pin it all on the O-line because that's a unit that has to mesh well. And it's a unit that's probably one of the single most important units in all of football, that they don't give MVP awards for a whole unit, though, despite the fact that you wouldn't be anywhere without them. So I think it was the secondary, mainly. Our secondary was not very good. We started to get to the quarterback later on in the season, and Nick Mullins started to make some plays. Established a running game with Matt Breida. So, yeah, the secondary needed work. People thought we needed more pressure on the QB, and we might get Nick Bosa. But the defense is where I would want to focus my attention, because I thought everything else that we had was going fine, considering the circumstances, if that answers your question. So, let's see here. James says... Jamie's the crab legs and the F and the P and stuff. Let's see here. Yeah, the ranch ain't the same without Rooster. It's not. I'm glad James knows what I'm talking about. But it is interesting to see athletes today and what they have to face when it comes to stuff like that. But good on Tiger. I could have told you that. I mean, yeah, it's a sport that is physically demanding, despite what people may say, especially your back. Especially where you get that swing. But I don't think once he got back to golf, I was like, he could, if he works hard enough at it, if he wants it bad enough, which it's Tiger Woods we're talking about, he could get back there. But I just never thought he would get back there as far as playing golf professionally again. I didn't think it was going to happen. So I guess mine's sort of with an asterisk as far as my feelings on that. Anyway, it is Power Rankings Day, so I did want to go ahead and let you guys know of what the latest Power Rankings are. And here's where we need some fan participation. The first ever NAL Power Rankings, I have them all done up. I just haven't done them up and put them out there. But the NAL Power Rankings, it's pretty obvious. And instead of going 6 to 1, I'm going to go 1 to 6 because I need your help figuring out who number 6 is, because there's a couple of things here. So number 1 is Carolina, obviously, the champs of the champs until further notice, and they had a very dominant performance against a rival with the reigning MVP starting at quarterback. And they made quick work of them on the road. You can't deny that they're number 1 right now. And then also... the next one would be the Orlando Predators, because they beat the runner-up to last year, the Columbus Lions, and it was a close game, but Orlando being on a hiatus, coming in with a new squad, Not really sure how things are going to go. Some big question marks. Number 2. That's where I got. They beat what was last year's second best team. Number 3 is the New York Streets. I mean, they beat the Jacksonville Sharks, and they did it on the road in their first game ever. I mean, that's something to talk about. So then number 4 I have is the Columbus Lions, because they lost to the Predators, but it was a very close game. And it was, on the road, which doesn't account for too much. That's like a tiebreaker. But then 5 and 6. Do you put number 5 as the Pirates because they were around last year, and even though their score margin was the greatest of any game that week, it was that they were playing the defending champs, and so they get kind of a pass on that? Or do you put them last because of the score margin? And then, of course, on the flip side, would you put Jacksonville last because they got beat by an expansion team at home? Or would you put them at number 5 because it was a closer game than the Pirates and Cobras game? So I'll leave it up to you guys to decide. You can give me your thoughts there. Hello, Craig. Good to see you in the chat as well. And then while you guys think on that, a few more comments here. Let's see. James White says, pretty cool. They showed his first with his dad and the one with his son. I'm glad he's back. A lot of sports fans are glad that he's back and on good terms as well. No scandal. Adam says, Jacksonville is number 6. They were the big bad of the NFL, of the NAL, and they lost to the streets. That could mean so many things. You got claimed by the streets, man. The streets of New York. They'll take you. James White says, Cobras, Streets, Preds, Pirates, Lions, Sharks. That's different. I will disagree because I think the Predators played a tougher opponent, given that the only thing that we have to go off is last year, and they were last year's runner-up. Now, they got beaten handily by the Cobras, but they did so without their starting quarterback in the championship. Not that it would have changed the ultimate outcome, but it might have changed a few things. Excuse me. So I'll let you guys think on that while we do the IFL Power Rankings here real quick. And congratulations to the outstanding players of the week for Week 8. On special teams, Ernesto Lacayo, his 43-yarder, his 51-yard bank shot off the crossbar. I mean, that's fantastic. Good for him. Defensively, from Arizona, we had Dylan Winfrey, who had 5 tackles, a few for a loss, and then a blocked kick recovery for a touchdown. He was all over the place. And then finally, offensive, Malik Brown, or is it Malik Brown? I apologize if I butchered it. And he was the one for the Barnstormers who ran all over the Bucks, literally. He had over 100 yards for a running back. Only 1 rushing touchdown, but he did throw a touchdown to Ryan Ballantyne, which was Ryan Ballantyne's 4th touchdown on the day. But I just thought he had a really great performance to be able to be that versatile. So props to him. So here are the power rankings as I have them. Number 10 is the Bismarck Bucks. Winless still, the only remaining winless team. So I'm sure that their time is coming. They're down 1 from last week. And then number 9 is the Cedar Rapids River Kings, because jumping up 2 spots, making a big move, is number 8, the San Diego Strikeforce, get their first win of the season. And then number 7 is still the Sugar Skulls, who lost to Arizona, very close game. 3-3. Then the Steamwheelers didn't move. The Danger didn't move. And then really the rest of the top teams did not move. The Blizzard is 5-2. The Storm is 5-1. 5-2, 5-1. Yes, because the Storm had a bye week, and then the Barnstormers and the Rattlers are both 6-0, and it was another great week. So last thoughts here on. James says, Preds versus Lions game was sloppy as hell. I wouldn't know because I can't see the replay on YouTube. You had to watch it live. That game is not available, which is why you aren't getting a fan show top 10 for the NAL, is because that game's not available. I don't want to give you a top 10 without considering all the games and all the plays for all the teams. Let's see here. James also says the Lions aren't the same. I'll give you that. And let's see. Oh, thank you. Brian Klum says, bless you for my sneeze. So, yeah, it's tough. I would still say, though, that the Lions are number 4 then, and maybe the Streets would be number 2. But the Streets, there's a lot of question marks about them right now being an expansion team. So I'd have to give the nod to the Predators. And, oh, man, that's tough, though. That really is tough. Where do you put New York and where do you put Jacksonville? We'll have to think on it. You guys can continue to go ahead and, put it in the comments if you want to switch over to Spreaker. I have Drake White, and we are going to go ahead and have a conversation about his first year in the IFL, playing for the Cedar Rapids River Kings. So we can continue your guys' conversation and comments over on Spreaker in the chat feature that we have there. But thank you guys for everything here. Of course, we'll have one more episode tomorrow, and we'll be back, hopefully, pending traffic and any other issues at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. So here is my conversation with wide receiver of the Cedar Rapids River Kings, Drake White. Enjoy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, joining me now is one of the hottest guys in the IFL, a rising star for the Cedar Rapids Titans. It is Drake White. Mr. White, welcome to the program.
Hey, how you doing? Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. It's, I got to say, honor and a privilege, really, because, I do these weekly top 10, and it's tough. I'm not going to lie, especially when there's weekends that have all 10 teams seeing action. I mean, the NFL, you can see a low-scoring affair. There might be several games that don't have a lot of plays that really stand out. But here in the IFL and arena ball in general, you're going to see, for the most part, a lot of high scores, a lot of action, and a lot of really great plays. And you were the number 1 play last week. And the new one is out. And, of course, last week, pretty much unanimous decision. That over-the-wall catch was fantastic. And you've been doing a great job. How do you feel? Because you're a new kid on the block. And how's your experience been going so far?
My experience has been really great. The coaching staff has done a great job of getting me acclimated with my new teammates and the playbook, and just been doing a lot of catching up and studying. And the other guys that's here, the veterans, been doing a good job of helping me out and just making sure I know the playbook as well. And about the catch, I just expect a lot out of myself. I train really hard during the off season, so when it's time to perform, I just like to come through and do what I can for my teammates and to help us put us in position to win games.
Absolutely. It is a team sport, and I think it's one of the most team sports out there. In this version, you have 9 guys out there working cohesively as a unit, offensive and defensive, and then, of course, special teams. And you guys got a lot of playmakers in there, so for you to stand out, it really says something about your particular skill set and talent at this level. Give us a little bit of history. How long have you been playing football altogether, and where do you hail from originally?
Well, I'm born and raised in Macon, Georgia, East Macon, Georgia. I went to Northeast High School in Macon, Georgia. I started getting interested in football my junior year of high school, played a few 7-on-7 games, and was on the team, just trying to get used to the game because I was a huge basketball guy. I grew up playing basketball my whole life. So I kind of made a deal with one of my friends. He was a big guy, 6'4" guy, and his name was Justin Marcus, who played defensive end. And I said we needed a center for our basketball team. So I said, if you come play basketball, I'll come play football. So my senior year, I ended up having a great season and finished with like 1,200 receiving yards, and just took it to junior college from there. I went to Feather River College in Northern California. Then I got my degree there in social and behavioral science and went to Division I FCS Weber State. Played there for 1 season, then eventually transferred and finished my last semester in Southeastern Oklahoma State, where I had a good season there. And from there, I just got in contact with the right people and ended up landing a job in arena football. I played for the High Country Grizzlies last year in the AAL and was named an All-Star my rookie year, had 9 touchdowns in 5 games. And when I got the call to come here, I was just excited because it was a higher level, and I just wanted to prove to everyone what I can do.
Well, I got to say, that's probably one of the most impressive resumes that I've heard on the show covering this league. Not just athletically. I'm talking about education-wise. It sounds like you are, without a doubt, one of the most well-rounded guys that I've spoken to. And so clearly, One of the questions I always ask on here is, have you thought about life after football? And you have, and this is only one of your first year in the IFL, but one of your, early years playing in the indoor game. But I imagine this is just one of those things that if it works out, great, but if not, you have something else in mind.
Right, exactly. My grandmother, who passed away in 2015, raised me very well, and she always told me that sports was always great. Sports was always great, but you needed something to fall back on, and so I was always big on education at an early age, and I just made sure I stuck with that because I knew that, like you said, the football work is going to be great, but even if it does work, you have to have a backup plan because you can't play this game forever. So actually, some of my goals are to become a motivational speaker, uplift people, also just own a sporting goods store, give back to the community, and just things like that. But football is definitely something I want to keep playing, and hopefully I can get better and better and just keep taking it to new heights and newer levels. But at the same time, I also going to fall back on my academics to help put me on the same radar as sports.
A well-rounded life is a life with many options. The world is your oyster, as they say. I mean, props to the guys that can go in with a one-track mind and say, this is going to be what I do for the rest of my life, and there's no other options, and they pursue it and they do it. I mean, congrats to them. But, that's, unfortunately, that's a small piece of a very large pie, and it doesn't work out for everybody that way. But I've heard plenty of success stories from guys that said, I went and I got tattoos in places that I knew nobody would hire me because I only wanted to ever be a musician, or football was
Right.
the only thing I ever wanted to do, so I never even gave anything else any kind of thought. But for you to be pursuing football now and having I don't even want to call it a backup plan, but just obviously other areas of interest, I think speaks volumes for athletes today. So congrats to you, props on that. Really impressed hearing that. What do you hope to accomplish? Yeah, what do you hope to accomplish this year in the IFL?
My main goals right now is just to put my team in a better position to win games. My short-term goals right now for the team is for us to make the playoffs. We have 7 games left this season. We want to win at least 6 of those 7 games, but of course we're shooting to win all 7. My individual goals is to obviously lead my team in every receiving category as possible. We have some great guys on the receiving corps as well, and that's also their goal. So just a little friendly competition there. And at the end of the season, I want to get the call up to possibly the AFL or CFL, NFL. But those are my 2 goals. But the first goal right now is obviously the team goal, and that's to help put my team in a position to make the playoffs.
And I love that. I really do. I think that is probably one of the most well-spoken things that I've heard doing interviews like this. And I'm not saying that I get a lot of divas, but there's a lot of guys, because of what a league like this is, which is kind of a second chance or maybe even a first chance. A lot of guys, they are for the team, but as far as on a personal level, they're looking to get film. They're looking to maybe accomplish a few things as far as help elevate themselves to that next level, maybe mind, body, soul, whatever the case is. And then, of course, you've got the guys that they want a championship, or they want to make sure that they've exhausted all options for getting wherever they're going to go. So there's a lot of me, but at the end of the day, it's a team sport, and it's great to hear that, for the most part, you guys haven't lost sight of that, and that you're all out to help each other, even though your goals may be separate as far as on an individual level. So good on that one too, man.
Right, yeah. My coach does a great job of just preaching to us that it's a team game, and the only way one individual can shine is if he has his teammate to help him shine. The receivers need the quarterback needs the offensive line, offense needs the defense, and so on and so on. So we just kind of lean on one another for that right there, and that helps us just keep everyone's head on straight.
Yeah, and you guys have a good coach there, and Stout, and he's obviously well known in Cedar Rapids. How have you liked Iowa and Cedar Rapids?
Well, I'm starting to like it a little bit better now. Before I got here, like 2 weeks before I got here, it was like negative 30 here, and it was freezing cold. And me being a Georgia boy, I'm not really a fan of the cold weather. But it definitely got better now. The people here are nice. The town is great. They took me in with open arms, so everything's been a smooth process so far.
Now, of course, you guys have not had the best start to the season, and you went to California, took on San Diego, and nobody wants to be that team, but that ended up being you guys, where San Diego gets their first win of the season over you. So now things are starting to kind of take a little bit more shape, and they're maybe not as we thought they were early on, as far as from the top to the bottom. But you guys, you were so competitive against Iowa in that game. In fact, I didn't get to watch it as it happened. I knew the outcome, but I'm watching it, later on at home, and I'm watching this game, and I'm thinking, man, how did Iowa pull this off? You guys were so close. So I know that for a lot of you guys, every game is a learning experience. But moving forward, you guys are going to host Bismarck, another winless team. What is the mindset, or I guess the lesson that was learned last week that makes sure that you guys aren't the first one in a win column for a team like Bismarck that's looking to get that first one?
Well, what we have to do is just focus on the next game, but also take some things from last game. And some things from last game that we were taking is just to come out and start fast, and to make sure that we keep our foot on the gas the entire game, and not just a quarter or a half. And also the offense as a whole. We all agreed that we have to do a better job of just going out there, converting on third downs, and just doing exactly what the coaches asked for us to do, and just to execute the best way we can. Our defense did a great job, only allowing, I think, like 6 or 7 points, or like 9 points or something like that, single digits in the second half. So offense just got to come together and just pull our part of the wagon and just do what we can to help out. But next week, what we have to do is just focus on what we have to control. Bismarck is a good team. They're also well coached, but we just have to focus on what we have going on over here in Cedar Rapids and just execute better, and I think we'll be okay.
I think you will too. There's plenty of season left, and you guys haven't shown any sign that you guys are a bye week for teams. You're really not. And I think for you guys to continue to play competitively and fight it out for all 4 quarters, even though you may have not started out the best, I think speaks volumes to the coaching, the staff, and of course the competitiveness of the guys that you share the roster with. One of which I talked to last week, Markel Wade. He was our outstanding special teams player of the week. 2 kick returns for touchdowns a week that there were more kick returns for touchdowns than there were successful field goal attempts. What's it like playing with a guy like that, who is so well versed as far as you can put him on special teams, offense, and he goes out there and he makes plays like that?
Wade is my brother. I love him to death. When I first got here, he kind of took me under his wing and showed me the ins and outs of the offense, make sure I was okay on and off the field. And I just always try to be a sponge to a guy like that and just soak up much information as I can, because it's only my second year in the indoor league. So I'm just trying to learn as much as I can from him. Also, we go hand in hand on the football field. We're like Batman and Robin. One can be Batman, one can be Robin, or it can be vice versa. We just kind of feed off each other. He brings so much to the table. He's a dynamic player, and I just try to pull my weight and help him out as much as I can. Some games he'd be open. Most of the time, some games I'll be open. But we kind of feed off each other, and that's how our relationship is on and off the field.
Yeah, you guys really are a tight-knit group in the indoor league, and a lot of things are really tight-knit. Being in Iowa especially, you've played the Barnstormers twice now. Their fans are one of the best traveled fans out there, meaning that you'll see them on the road a lot. And location helps a lot, but they're also a very devoted fan base. And, there's a lot of uncertainty when you rebrand a franchise, but I think obviously it was needed. It's for the better, putting the past behind you and onward and upward. And it's a bright tomorrow for you guys in Cedar Rapids and the River Kings. And, for you, even if you play on a rival team, even if your time here is only for a couple of seasons, if you keep playing the way that you do, the fans will love you, of all teams. And I can tell you that right now, that there's a lot of fans that are talking about you, and I think that that's fantastic for someone, a young player like yourself. In your mind, when it's all said and done, as far as the football aspect of your life, what's the mark you would like to have left behind?
The mark I would want to leave behind is that everyone know that Drake White was a hard worker. He did things the right way. He was coachable, and he was a great teammate. And if I can get those things to be remembered as, I'm fine with the rest. You know, the catches will come, touchdowns will come, but I want to be known as a good guy in the locker room and someone who was who just worked his behind off and was coachable.
What kind of high jump did you have in high school? I feel like you were a guy that you mentioned basketball, but did you ever measure your high jump? Because that catch over the wall, that was something.
At Weber State, I did. I think I got at my Division I FCS, but never in high school. But at Weber State, my vertical was, I think, like a 38, 39. So, but it's the difference between jumping straight in the air and jumping over a wall. That was I even surprised myself on that one. So when I got up, I was like, man, I really made that play. That was pretty cool.
There's a lot of guys I talk to that go over the wall, and every one of them, I think, has either a different answer, reaction, or just mindset. Quentin Pedroza, who I'm sure you know in the league by now, plays for the Steamwheelers. He's gone over the wall probably once a week. Of course, Sam Charles there before he got hurt for the Iowa Barnstormers. He went over the wall, and for Pedroza, he's like, I got this, and the helmet's the first thing to hit the concrete, which can never be comfortable. And for Sam Charles, it was gimme that, because he's Mr. Gimme That out there in Iowa. But for you,
Yeah.
what went through your mind as you're going up over the wall for this thing?
That I better catch the ball. If I'm going over the wall like that, I at least I can do is reward myself with coming down with it and catching it, actually, and instead of going over there and being incomplete. So that was my main thought process. But I just like to put myself in positions to make plays, and them type of plays right there really stands out. So I just try to make sure I can put myself in position to make plays like that all the time. And luckily, I got that one. Fortunately, I got that one.
I don't know if there's an easier way to go over the wall, one compared to another, but it seemed like you went over a little smoother than some guys I've seen. Did you land on your helmet or on your back?
I kind of landed on my back, but not flat on my back. I kind of rolled into my back as I was going down. So maybe the impact on video makes it seem a little harsh than what it was, but it actually was kind of smooth, and the impact wasn't as rough as I thought it was going to be.
Well, you got the catch. There was no flags. It was a touchdown. It's probably one of the best plays all season, but it was number one for that week. Human highlight reel is probably what you're going to end up being for the rest of the season, and you've got a great supporting cast there in Cedar Rapids. So I think you guys definitely have a good chance to turn this season around and be competitive for push to the postseason. But, hey, man, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to make your debut on the show. It's been, like I said, an honor and a privilege, and I really appreciate getting to know you here tonight.
Thank you so much. Thanks for the opportunity.
Absolutely. You take care of yourself and have a good night.
All right. Thanks.
And one more big thank you to Drake White of the Cedar Rapids River Kings. I've said it right all season. I didn't even realize last night when we recorded that interview that I said Cedar Rapids Titans. I guess it's one of those things, huh? So anyway, I want to thank all of you for tuning in this evening. We'll be back tomorrow night with an all-new episode. Until then, best of luck to you and yours. Go Niners, and remember, it's all fun and games until you butt fumble. Good night.
Do you remember the time that Mark Sanchez ran into his own player's butt? That was funny sports.
Thank you for having me on the show, man. I love the F.A.N show.